What's up guys, how's it going? This video I figured I'd do something a little different. I originally just wanted to talk about some of the traits that I feel like a lot of people don't pick because they think they're bad. But I figured this would be a bit easier. We can just talk about all of them at once in a form that the younger generation will appreciate, aka a tier list. People even do tier lists anymore? I don't know, I don't really care either. This just makes it easier so I can talk about all of them in one go instead of just one or two. The first one we're going to take a look at is Build to Destroy. Build to Destroy is absolutely insane. Plus 3% crit chance, and your weapons degrade 15% faster. 15% faster weapon degradation seems like a lot on paper, but it's really not. And as most of you guys know, crit chance in New Vegas is broken, so increasing that by any means you can is definitely ideal. So I would definitely recommend picking that up if you have not tried it before. And just like the little Vault Boy icon, you just go burr. It's pretty good. And the next we have Claustrophobia, +1 to all special stats when outside and -1 to all special stats when indoors. I think this one's pretty garbage. At first I thought it was a bit better because, you know, most of New Vegas takes place outside and that seems pretty good. But like a lot of the big boss battles like Father Elijah and Ulysses and a lot of other battles like that take place indoors, which is kind of unfortunate. But I feel like just not having to deal with that hindrance at all is just not worth taking it. We're just gonna put that in dumpster tier. And next we have Early Bird. You get +1 to all special stats, I believe, between 6 AM and noon. Or no, you get +2 to all special stats between 6 AM and noon, but -1 to all special stats from 6 PM to 6 AM. I ran the numbers. You only get 6 hours of benefit and 12 hours of suffering. 6 is less than 12, so we're gonna put that in dumpster tier. Might be okay, but nah. As I said, I ran the numbers. 6 hours of benefit for 12 hours of pain and suffering is just not worth. Then we have Kamikaze. We get +10 action points at the cost of -2 damage threshold and -15 damage resistance, which they don't really tell you about the damage resistance part for some reason. It's kind of a big deal. But yeah, this one is also pretty bad. +10 action points isn't enough to justify taking so much more damage, I don't think. Just can't see it. I feel like it would be better if it was like a flat damage buff. I'm assuming that's what it was originally supposed to be, because then you'd be like a glass cannon character, but I'm assuming it was too broken and they just made it action points instead. Because, you know, giving a flat damage bonus of 10% was probably too good. And so they just changed it to action points. It just 10 action points just isn't enough to really do much, so I wouldn't bother. The next one, we're gonna put these two together. It's a fast shot and a trigger discipline. So the fast shot is 20% fire rate at the cost of 20% less accuracy, and trigger discipline is the exact opposite. 20% slower fire rate for 20% more accuracy. I never really noticed the difference when I picked these, like at all. It just doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. The weapons in New Vegas have pretty good accuracy as well as pretty good fire rate, so I mean, I wouldn't really bother with this if I had the choice. It just doesn't seem worth. And 20% seems like a lot on paper, but in reality it doesn't really make much of a difference in game, so I wouldn't really bother with either of these, to be honest. Just kind of a waste. Next we have Four Eyes. This one is a bit more controversial, I'd say. I think I'm going to put it in C tier. It gives you -1 to perception, but you get a +2 bonus to perception when wearing glasses. Unfortunately, the -1 perception debuff is a permanent debuff, and the +2 is only temporary when wearing glasses. So if you start the game with 6 perception and then you pick this, it'll put you down to a hard 5, so you're unable to get the sniper perk even if you're wearing glasses. Because the glasses buff is only temporary, and once you take off the glasses, it'll go back down. So you basically get a permanent -1 and a potentially temporary +2 when you put glasses on. So just because of that, I just don't feel like it's worth putting on. But it's really up to you. If you like wearing glasses, then I guess you could put it up higher, but once the glasses come off, you're feeling pretty bad. So I honestly wouldn't bother, but it's one of the better ones when compared to some of the other things we're doing here, but it's alright. The next one, we have a Good Natured. I feel like Good Natured might be slept on a little bit. I feel like Good Natured is honestly S tier. Most of the time when you're building a character, you only use like 1 or 2 different combat skills. And I mean, relocating like 5 of the different combat skills into 5 utility skills, which you'll most likely use more of. Like you're always using repair, you're always using medicine. You're usually using speech. I think the worst ones are like science and barter in that order, but even still, you use science and you could also use barter. Like, I feel like that's just moving those points around to places that you'll actually use instead of keeping them in like laser weapons or melee weapons if you decide never to use them. It's just a better point allocation. And even if you regret it later, it doesn't really matter because again, all you do is reallocate some points. You didn't actually lose anything. But I think good nature is definitely S tier in terms of utility. Then we have heavy-handed. You get plus 20% damage when using melee or unarmed, but a minus 60% critical damage. When you get a crit, you'll do 60% less damage, but in general, you get 20% more damage. This one goes up higher depending on what you want to do. If you want to do a crit build, because crit builds are broken in New Vegas, it's obviously dumpster tier. But if you don't care about putting points into luck and you want to try something different, you just want to get that flat damage as high as you can, it's definitely up here, I'd say. I feel like it's one of those ones that could, no, maybe it's higher. It really depends what you want to do. Again, it all depends. Like if you don't want to put points into luck, then this obviously goes up higher if you want to do a melee build. But if you want to get those crits, then it's obviously dumpster tier. I'm gonna put it in 4 eyes tier, honestly. Like, it's really up to you. It's really what you want. Not bad. It just fucks with your crits, and everyone knows crits are broken. And then we have Hoarder. We get plus 25 carry weight, and we lose 1 to special points when we are below 160 pounds, I believe. Yep, that's it. It's not worth, honestly. If you want more carry weight, just wait until you can get strong back or burden to bear or both. It's just not worth the hassle of taking this. Losing special points is just too much for me, honestly. Maybe I value losing the special points too much, but I mean, your whole character's built around them, so I feel like they're pretty fucking important. So I kind of want to keep them. And yeah, just, I don't know. Keeping over 160 pounds of gear on you at all times just seems like an annoyance. I mean, it'll happen eventually, but I still don't think it's worth. Then we have Hot Blooded. We get plus 15% damage when below 50% health, as well as and the bad side is we lose 2 to agility and 2 to perception when below 50% health. I feel like this is A tier. I feel like a lot of people sleep on this one. Especially if you're doing a melee build where you do not care about perception or agility and you just want to go in there and start swinging, hacking and whacking and smacking, you know? Just get in there and it doesn't really matter. And then once you're getting shot up like you usually do, you'll start doing more damage. This is just good because it helps you get out of sticky situations, right? Just getting a flat damage boost of 15% is definitely insane. And then once you're out of battle, you just heal up and it's like nothing ever happened, right? But yeah, I feel like this is definitely a decent one. Better if you're going for a melee build, but still all around I think it's pretty good. Losing 2 agility and 2 perception, but getting a 15% damage buff is kind of insane. I think that one's definitely slept on. Then we have Logan's Loophole, garbage. I don't even remember what it does, but I just know it's bad. It's like chems don't get you addicted or anything like that. What do you do, Logan? Logan's Loophole, where are you? Chems last twice as long and addiction rates are set to 0. Yeah, okay, so they last twice as long and you don't get addicted, but you get capped at level 30. That's just complete trash. Missing out on the last 20 levels when there's already so many good perks you can get to make chems insane. You can get like chemist and all that other shit. Implant GRX, and they just stack and do broken shit. Logan's Loophole's is not worth. Like, I get it. Roleplay, but in terms of what's actually good, that one's definitely not up there. Alright, what's this one? This one is Loose Cannon. Attack speed with thrown weapons increased by 30%. Thrown weapons have 25% less range. I feel like the thrown weapons have a decent range, at least like, I'm talking more like spears and knives. Because those are the ones you want to throw more of and faster, right? If you want to go for like spears and knives, honestly I don't feel like it's dumpster tier. I feel like it's just a little bit better. I feel like if you want to go for the knives and the spears, you definitely want this. Just run up at them and start chucking. You wouldn't recommend picking this if you want to do explosives. You don't really want those to be closer to you. That 25% range might be a problem. But yeah, I think this one's pretty good if you want to go for the full throwing weapon build. I'd just be cautious with grenades though. Next we have Wild Wasteland. Wild Wasteland's S tier just for flavor. I definitely recommend trying it at least once just to see like the cool pop culture references and shit that they put in the game. Definitely pretty cool. Next one is we have the skilled trait, which is S tier if your game is not patched because you can stack it. That's one of the first videos I made on this channel, was how you could get the skilled trait multiple times in one playthrough. Essentially, whenever you rebuild your character, i.e. when you leave Goodsprings and when you go to the auto dock in Old World Blues, you're able to select your traits again. And if you select the skilled trait, you'll just get +5 more points to everything every time you pick it. So you can leave Goodsprings and skilled will give you +10. And then once you reset in Old World Blues, you get +15 to everything at the end. And you wouldn't get any additional XP loss. The only thing that would stack would be the +5 points. So again, if your game is unpatched, I'd definitely put it up here. If your game's patched, I'd probably put it down here because it's still good. There's more than enough XP in the game to get you to max level, even once you take the -10% XP hit. Once you've done pretty much everything in the game, you'll be max level. So, as I said, skilled traits pretty good. Then we have small frame. You get +1 to agility, but your limbs take 25% more damage. They don't actually take more HP damage, but they just break easier, essentially. That's just annoying. That's just annoying enough that I don't want it. Just having your limbs broken all the time. You could take like adamantium skeleton and try and mitigate it, but I just don't think the 1 point in agility is worth. The only reason I'm not putting it in dumpster tiers because agility is kind of a really good special stat. But unfortunately, having your limbs breaking all the time and having to hobble around the wasteland is just too annoying for me. Honestly, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother picking it, but I will put it up here a little bit higher just because agility is insane. But yeah, that's about it, really. That's about it. That's all I gotta say, really. Yeah, I feel like good-natured and hot-blooded are slept on pretty hard. The rest of these are kind of obvious. And I feel like these ones are just all generally pretty bad, but as I said, I know a lot of them are just for flavor. Not opposed to picking any of them, really. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one.